Welcome to another Give SI Nonprofit Spotlight. I'm Mark Kiesling, and I'm joined by Mike Chervinko and Elizabeth Donahue. They're with the Fuller Dome Home. And so tell us a little bit about the Fuller Dome Home and that whole project.
Well, it's the Fuller Dome Home Museum.
Okay.
We just added museum this year, so we have to make sure to get that on there. And because it is museum, it's very important. And so we are preserving a living legacy. Buckminster Fuller was a futurist. Many considered him an engineer, an inventor, really a one-of-the-kind individual that's considered the father of the modern sustainability movement. He was a professor at SIU for from 59 to 72, I believe. And he patented the geodesic dome home. And so we restored the dome home, and we are building a visitor center that is in the dry now. And we are an educational center. We've taken hundreds of students just this year through the dome home, and we use the artifact really as an educational tool to inspire future generations that they can work to solve problems like Bucky did.
Okay, so he actually lived in this home, right?
Yes.
While he was at SIU?
So one of the biggest, so sort of the backstory for how this home came to be is, as Elizabeth just mentioned, he created he didn't create, but he was garnered the patent for the geodesic design in 1954. And its application started to kind of spread like wildfire for other uses, like for, it's a good structure to use in Antarctica because it's an extremely resilient structure. It can handle winds over 180 miles per hour. And it's great for military applications for research centers in Antarctica. But he wanted to take it one step further because there's physical properties surrounding the geodesic design itself that are extremely efficient, and it's basically about sustainability. That was like his real focus for moving this into the home segment. And so he wanted to build the house in part as sort of a proof of concept that a geodesic sort of circular structure was a suitable house dwelling.
So how long did he live there in the Carbondale home?
He lived from 59 to 72, and so before he got to SIU, Fuller, one of the things that he was dedicated to was making the world work for 100% of humanity, but a big part of that was solving the world's housing crisis. And that's what he was doing always, is like looking at problems that existed in the world and trying to figure out how to make things work. And he had some personal stories that really led him to try to make housing affordable, but also make it more structurally sound and efficient for families. And so he really thought the geodesic dome could do that. And it still, it is kind of, people still live in geodesic domes. They've taken on a lot of other uses. And so it was the only dome that he actually ever ended up living in. Oh, and it actually also...
he ever owned.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
And so was this home in disrepair when...
Oh, yeah.
When you guys first took it over?
To back up just a hair and to more directly answer your last question. So the home was built, literally it was boxed in one afternoon by students of his.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the simplicity of this.
It could go up in a day if you want.
Yeah, the simplicity of it. And it went up in April, and he lived in it until he left Carbondale, which was like, I think it sold like around like the fall of 71 or maybe the fall of 72, something like that. So he lived in it for a good tick, long enough to know, like the ins and outs of living in a geodesic home.
Yes.
He was when he was a professor here, he did travel a lot, but this was the only geodesic dome that he lived in.
It was the only home he ever owned, period.
Yeah.
And so what work has been going on so far on the home?
Yes. Okay. So that's what we need to take it back to the 70. When he left, he sold the home, and somebody lived in it. Actually, if people are familiar with the book Carbondale After Dark, the person that bought it wrote that book in the.
No. Okay. He was a tenant.
He was a tenant of it.
Yes.
And then it became rental property, and you might know what happens to rental property.
Yeah.
And it fell into disrepair.
Right.
There was a design professor, Bill Perk, who actually his whole life was changed because of Fuller. Fuller, and he ended up following him here to Carbondale. And he knew that that was a really special artifact and it had to be saved. And so he purchased it. He started the nonprofit, and it was a long road to actually getting it restored. In 2010,
Mostly garnering funds.
yeah, in 2010, we won the Save America's Treasure Grant. And so the Dome Home has been actually restored for a little over a decade. And then that was really a labor of love by many people. Architects, included, of course. Fuller had a lot of influence in a lot of different areas. And so that's kind of what we're asking for money for this year. We are building the visitor center, but we are leaning into grant writing for that, and we're feeling really hopeful about that. And so what we're raising money for this year, we're asking for $20,000 for repairs on the Dome Home. Anybody that owns a house knows,
Yes.
and I'm finding this. I'm finding this with restoration, it's even more so in a way. And so we have some somewhat critical repairs that we're trying to get done. And we have a huge event in April. We're partnering with the National Buckminster Fuller Organization, and we're going to be welcoming people really from all over the world here in April.
Yes.
And so we would really like to we have a skylight to repair. We have a whole detailed list.
Window that needs, the jam needs to be replaced or something. There's a skylight that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's what we're going to use the funds for. And so anyone that contributes, that you are contributing to continuing the living legacy and making sure that it's in good shape for visitors the world over, really. Like I said, we've had hundreds of students, but we have visitors that contact us from all kinds of places. They're making their way through Carbondale, and some will travel hours out of their way because Fuller influenced so many people in so many different fields.
Yes. Is this on the National Register of Historic Places?
Yes.
Yes.
And so because of that, do you have to meet certain criteria as you go through the house and you make repairs and
Yes.
restoration?
Yes.
And that's
It's
why
not
it's
just somebody
$20,000.
fixing up their house and
Right.
saying, I'm going to do it this
Yes.
way. You have to meet certain standards, right?
Yes.
Comparison is what is sort of earmarked to happen at the Crenshaw House in Gallatin County. We had to, in our restoration, we had to maintain the same standards that they will have to maintain in restoring that to its, historical,
Right.
original
Yes.
state.
Yeah.
So yes, there's very specific rules that we have to oblige by. So
Yeah, so you can't cut corners. You have to do it
No.
correctly.
No.
And
Absolutely cannot. And we are really lucky that we have, as was former board members, Ed Cook and Thad Heckman.
Yes.
Thad Heckman's a local architect that many might know. He did the Transportation Center in Carbondale. He also is very inspired by Fuller, and he was a former board member, and he's responsible really for, he won the Holland Prize, which is through the Library of Congress, for his drawing of the restoration of the Dome Home. Hand drawn, really remarkable. And so, they are in charge of they really will keep it all right and exactly how it's supposed to be. But that's also part of the reason why, it is a list of repairs, but why it's $20,000 as opposed to maybe you could do it if you're doing it on your own without all those for half the cost, but we have to
Thad will only do it the correct way.
Yes.
good to know. And it's preserving a piece of history.
Completely.
Yeah.
Southern Illinois.
Yes.
So.
And that's part of the message that we want to spread, especially to, outside of Carbondale and to the rest of Southern Illinois, is this is really a significant artifact.
It really is.
It's one of a kind. And if it's not the first, it's one of the first geodesic dome homes ever created.
Yeah.
And it was created by the godfather of geodesic,
Yes.
our
Yes.
Mr. Fuller.
Yes.
So
And
the
that's
significance of it just can't be overstated.
right.
Exactly.
And now that it is restored, I feel like one of our pushes is just to get ourselves on the map so people know that we're there and
Yeah.
to garner their interest.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm learning as we are partnering with the Buckminster Fuller Institute. So that was a nonprofit started by the family, and this is a really significant partnership. It's one of the first times that we've done something significant together. And what's been happening through these meetings is I've been realizing there are so many people doing wonderful work all over the world that are inspired by Fuller. And this is our time to kind of claim that special place in the Fuller legacy.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure that there's nothing that needs to be done by the time they get here. And we have what is really our golden egg, in tip-top shape by the time that April comes around.
All right. Well, Elizabeth and Mike, thank you both for being here and sharing about the Fuller Dome Home Museum and how people can help with that. And if you want more information on this organization or any of the other ones that we're helping through this campaign, you can go to givesi.org and you can make a donation right now to this group or others that are there. And we encourage you to do so. So remember, Give SI for good forever for Southern Illinois.
Give SI is made possible by Oasis. We More Better. Video services provided by ManVoice. Additional funding for Give SI is made possible by these sponsors.